exclusively in Luke's Gospel. In chapter 15, Jesus tells 3 lost stories: the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the lost son. In this latter story, a younger son leaves home for a far country, having asked his father for his share of his inheritance now. He then proceeds to squander it all on what Luke describes as riotous living. In due course, the son finds himself with nothing. He realizes his folly and is bitterly regretful, and he decides to return home. He believes that he only deserves to be accepted back as a servant, if at all. Thus the son is not lost in the sense that he doesn't know how or where to find his father, but rather he is lost spiritually, because he believes the extent of his behaviour may be unforgivable, and he is afraid he is now lost to his father forever because of the extent and depth of his foolishness. What happens when the son returns home is one of the most beautiful illustrations of the depth of God's love for each one of us. I cannot read the story or play out in my imagination without feeling emotional the scene when the father sees the son from afar and runs to him. We don't know how long it has been since the son left home, but it was certainly many months, possibly even some years. As we hear, there was a famine in the son's adopted country. He had tried to manage for a time, having found work feeding swine. Though he had no food for himself, neither did anyone offer him any. Finally, the son is overcome with guilt and shame. He decides that he will return home, throw himself upon his father's mercy, expecting nothing except perhaps only to be retained as a servant. As the son nears home, the father sees him from a distance, which to me means that he had never stopped looking out for him, always hoping his son might return, even though years may have passed, and he didn't even know if his son was still alive. And as he gazes into the distance, as he had done every day for many years, hoping he might see his son, suddenly his heart begins racing as he looks from afar. Could it be? Might this be the day he had prayed about for so long? Was that his lost son walking towards him? Suddenly he knew it was, and oh joy, my son, my son! And he dropped whatever he was doing and ran towards him. And as he approached, the son must have known by his father's face and demeanour and his outstretched arms that he still loved him. Then they meet. The father embraces him and holds him tight. No words are said, just tears and a tight embrace. And as so beautifully described by Luke, the father fell on his neck and kissed him. Then the son falls to his knees, overcome by guilt and shame, declaring that he had sinned against heaven and that he had let his father down. But we imagine the father, still tearful and still holding his son tightly. And at that moment, the son would have known that he need not have worried. His father was not angry, and was simply overjoyed to see him. We imagine father and son, arm in arm, walking back to the father's house, the father asking, "My son, how are you? Are you well? Will you stay?" There was no mention of the inheritance the son had squandered. There follows then celebrations at the younger son's return, but the eldest son is angry and resentful, unable to understand how his brother's behaviour had resulted in his father accepting him back. The father takes the older son gently aside, assuring him of his half of the inheritance, and telling him it was indeed right that they should celebrate. His brother could have been dead, but he's alive. He was lost and is found. The French artist James Tissot in 1896 painted The Return of the Prodigal, which for me catches perfectly the moment of reconciliation. The son is on his knees, with arms outstretched around his father. He has thrown his hat and staff on the floor. He cannot look up at his father, because he feels ashamed and buries his face in his body. The father stands, with knees slightly bent, as he's clearly stooping to kiss his son's head. One hand is around his son's back, the other on his head, as he's preparing to kiss him. Servants are seen peeping round doorways. They cannot impose themselves any more than that on such an intimate scene. Some will remember the son and want to embrace him themselves, but that will have to wait. The painting is very moving indeed. I should like to conclude with some appropriate music And one lovely hymn fits perfectly here. The King of Love my shepherd is. One of many with lyrics written by Sir Henry W. Baker, Vicar of Monkland in Herefordshire from 1851 to 1877. He was also editor of Hymns Ancient and Modern. It is said that his last words, the ones that he ever spoke, were the third stanza of this hymn. Perverse and foolish oft I strayed, but yet in love he sought me, and on his shoulder gently laid, and home rejoicing brought me.